All of Philadelphia's issues finally caught up to them on Sunday as the offense once again went cold. The defense surrendered a huge fourth quarter lead. But even as AJ and Smitty finally got going, the Birds' newest problem vaulted to center stage, and I'm really not sure how to fix it. Well, it's Quinyon Mitchell's rough day at the office. Philadelphia found a brand new edge rusher, and the refs, they got the last laugh in the end. For Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. Philadelphia somehow keeps finding ways to look like an absolute juggernaut offense for parts of a football game, and then just a few drives later, look like they couldn't even buy a first down. As now, for 5 games in a row, Philadelphia struggled to run Saquon Barkley, generate first downs, and protect Jalen Hurts. But on Sunday, versus the Broncos, it took all of that plus inexcusable penalties, terrible no calls, and a gassed defense to give the Birds their first loss of the 2025 season. But I guess there is some good news because U.S. Army Vet 91 has not claimed the Jalen Hurts Jordan Spector picture yet. And so, U.S. Army Vet, let me know down below if you see this. If not, I'm going to redraw, announce a winner of this on my next show. So drop a like and comment your biggest takeaway from the Eagles' performance on Sunday to go ahead and re-enter. Now, the offense will be dissected shortly, but I just can't ignore the amount of missed opportunities plus terrible calls that went against the Birds on Sunday. First, for example, how about some missed opportunities alone? Hurts threw a dime to Jahan Dotson here that he barely missed. If he catches this in bounds, it's a massive game. Bo Nix, likewise, clearly, in my opinion at least, got strip stacked by DeJean. This got called a fumble on the field, and then they overturn it as an incomplete pass. How about Hurts' 30-yard dime to Devonta Smith on 4th down and 4? They probably win the game, but apparently Saquon Barkley did not sit still for enough milliseconds to not warrant a penalty. And then, of course, the big one everyone's talking about this morning, A.J. Brown slowing down on this easy touchdown pass from Jalen Hurts that would have put the Birds up 24-3 and likely iced away the game. And let's just be clear on the A.J. Jalen Hurts miss there on that deep ball where A.J. clearly let up. He can't do that, but I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying A.J. did this on purpose because he's upset. Do you think A.J. Brown didn't run through his route on purpose and purposely tried to not score on that play, but then did run through all of his routes on the previous ones? I'm not buying it, not absolving A.J. Brown by any means, but this was not a self-sabotage by number 11.
It looked like you slowed up on the play. Did you not think the ball was coming your way, or what happened with that?
It's not that I didn't think the ball was coming. When I looked up, I didn't see the ball, and I looked back, I didn't see the ball, and then the ball was thrown. So, like I said, we just missed.
Did you guys talk after the play about maybe if a miscommunication, what happened?
No.
In a game like this that is that close, is that one of those plays that you'll kind of think about from this one?
Yeah, because it's a big play, but there's so much more that you can look at and determine what we didn't do well at, so.
Still, after a week centered around Brown pulling up on that deep ball, it's a tough one for all of us to swallow. But we can at least admit that finally the offense at least somewhat ran through 11 and 6 on Sunday as they decided to go ahead and feed their best receivers. All week long, we talked about scheming plays to Brown and Smitty. Hurts and Patullo finally listened to an extent and took those deep shots. And the crazy part is the deep shots worked. Like you and I knew for weeks now that if they just took deep shots to their best receivers, they might be able to convert some big plays. And what do you know? They took deep shots to receivers and converted on big plays early and late. Just penalties took them off the board there in the end. I do think that is a positive. We're very negative today. I understand that. I'm still very upset at Kevin Patullo on the offense, but at least they took deep shots. Keep those in going forward.
It just kind of flowed that way. It just kind of flowed that way. We ended up having some opportunities there, and we hit on some and we didn't hit on some. But in the end, we just have to narrow our focus on execution and narrow our focus on the process of improvement.
Still, deep shots don't really matter if you continue to shoot yourself in the foot one too many times. And for everyone who's panicking that this team, it's similar to the 2023 debacle, I honestly disagree wholeheartedly for a bevy of reasons, except for the penalties. This team has been so undisciplined through 5 weeks that it almost felt appropriate to finally blow a game to the amount of miscues, and the team knows it.
I put that towards operation as a unit, and that starts with me. So I own that. I can play smarter in that, and make it work, given what we're doing.
Yeah, it's frustrating because most of the things were self-inflicted, and we beat ourselves, especially in the second half. So
yeah, for sure. Self-inflicted wounds. We had 2 in our room, 2 false starts in our room. I think we had 3 false starts offensively as a whole. We just shooting ourselves in the foot. That's all it was. We don't do that. We win that game.
But let me just say this. It was not just Eagle miscues that cost them the game on Sunday. We have to at least acknowledge, and I hate doing this, But the referees, they missed a ton of calls as well that would have gone in Philadelphia's favor. I mean, how do you call intentional grounding and then 10 minutes later change your mind and pick up the flag? Denver went from a 3rd and 21 to an easy conversion on 3rd and 6. Also, what about calling a late hit here on Zack Baun? RJ Harvey is clearly still trying to stay up and fight for more yards. Baun, what's he supposed to do? Stop mid-sprint, stop mid-dive, and not hit Harvey? And then, of course, worst of all, this is 100%, I don't care who you are, pass interference on Dallas Goedert. It should have given the Birds 1st and goal from the 4 with a shot to go ahead and win it and come back in a dramatic fashion. In postgame, you can hear Goedert, he's fighting back the anger because he knew 100% that was a PI.
Jalen threw it up to me. They obviously didn't throw a flag, so have to go back and see it on tape, but would have been interesting to see what happened down there.
Every single fan in the NFL absolutely hates whenever referees take matters into their own hands and blow calls that cost one football team a game. And I totally agree, the refs were awful. However, don't put yourself in a position to have the game taken away from you by the referees. If they would have, gone up 24-3 or not given up 18 unanswered in the 4th quarter or converted a couple of first downs in the second half, we wouldn't be talking about the refs today. And so, I agree, refs were awful. I just showed you. But as Nick Sirianni said post-game, you got to do a lot of things right to go ahead and not have the opportunity to lose the game because of the refs.
I've been around this long enough where, calls, they balance each other out. I know sometimes there's always going to be like, well, we get screwed in this one. I don't think that way. They all balance each other out. You're going to get some that you think you should get. You're going to get some that you're going to get it's going to go against you sometimes as well. So those guys do the best they can do and take a lot of pride in that. I got a lot of respect for the referees, and we'll never put anything on that. Again, those things happen in split-second situations, and then the review, same thing. So a lot of respect for what they have to do in real time. So again, it's tough. You just don't want to put yourself in those situations where it's coming down to a decision making by somebody else.
Still, though, for all the offensive issues on Sunday, the biggest glaring hole in the entire unit through 5 games continues to be the lack of a rushing attack. Saquon Barkley literally had just 6 carries for 30 yards, with half of those coming on one big run right here for 17. Barkley right now is averaging just 3.2 yards per rush and is currently on track to have under 1,000 yards rushing for the entire season. And his longest run through 5 weeks is literally this 17-yard run I just showed you by the Broncos on Sunday. And I totally agree. Saquon Barkley having only 6 carries in a game where you led by double digits in the second half is completely coaching malpractice, and that's on Kevin Patullo. However, KP's defense, did you see any running lanes open up? Have you seen any running lanes open up the past 4 or 5 weeks? This team cannot run block to save their lives, and they're absolutely shooting themselves in the foot because this should be a run-first team.
I won't say the word out of balance. I just think we're searching for improvement. And so, given what type of team we're built to be, you got to be able to establish the run in some regard, and that could look different. It may not be what it's been, but ultimately being able to lean on the run game is important. And so we just got to, look into how we can improve in that arena and go out there and take ownership for the things that we can control and grow from this opportunity.
I wouldn't say out of balance. I think it was just, based on what they were doing. They were playing a good little bit of man. We like our chances when teams play us man, but we have to be on the same page on certain things. And, like I said, we just shot ourselves in the foot at times.
I totally get the offense was completely out of balance on Sunday, but this offensive line is really struggling from top to bottom. Hurts was sacked 6 times. Those were brutal. And again, the running lanes we saw every single week in 2024 are nowhere to be found. I can't see them. It's so hard for me to blame the running game all on Kevin Patullo when this offensive line is not generating any push at all through now a very large 5-game sample size. Now, of course, could Kevin Patullo be scheming the running game better? Maybe, probably so. You and I don't know. We're not in those offensive meetings. However, I find it very hard that Kevin Patullo watched Kellen Moore just dice teams up with his rushing attack and then took over the offense this year and said, you know what? I'm going to do none of what Kellen Moore did last year in terms of the running game. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. I find that very hard to believe.
Yeah, obviously we want to be able to, just like, when we talk about, getting AJ the ball or Devonta the ball or Saquon the ball, we all want to get them all the ball as much as we possibly can, Dallas as well. Obviously, we want to run the ball more than we were able to today, or what we did today. You always want to have come out of that game with Saquon getting enough touches because of the type of player he is. So, again, we'll look for solutions, and we're on a short week trying to get better to put ourselves in position to go play against another NFC East opponent.
That's something that we always trying to do. Play complementary football. All three phases, and especially on offense, get the run game going, and get the pass game going, and vice versa. So we're working. We're trying to fix it, and we're optimistic about it because I know these coaches and these players are working their butts off to do it. So
The truth is, the Philadelphia offense, it just lacks a serious identity. They can just figure it out, kind of like they did around this time, middle of last year. They can score with anyone because everybody inside that building and us externally know they have the talent to be great.
Yeah, it's not a capability thing. We don't have a capability issue. We know what we're capable of. We're just not doing those things yet, but we will.
Now, speaking of greatness, and I thought this was Jalen Hurts' best game of maybe the entire year. He by no means has been terrible or elite through the first 5 games, but his command, at least early in this one, was absolutely fantastic. His deep ball accuracy was literally unmatched. I do think Jalen is taking one too many sacks, as mentioned. Maybe he's holding the football a little too much, but this team is not being hindered by their quarterback play. They're being hindered by play calling, penalties, and a complete inability to block up front and spring Saquon open. Hurts should have easily had 300 passing yards and 3 touchdowns in this game. Even his Hail Mary toss at the end was a perfect throw to Devonta Smith. A.J. Brown just happened to kind of get in the way and mess the play up. This was weird in the back of the end zone. Throw in the fact that during these 7 drives in the second half, 6 of which were punts, the only time the Birds actually scored, according to Saquon Barkley himself, because Jalen Hurts audibled at the line and found Barkley on a perfect wheel route for 6. The problem, though, of beating zone coverages once again reared its ugly head on Sunday, as I guess Ken Patullo is just completely unable to scheme against it. Philadelphia's EPA in the first half versus a heavy man look from Denver was met naturally with a ton of success. However, 1 point in the second half, Philadelphia faced zone coverages on 13 straight plays, and guess what? They failed to convert a single first down against that zone. Do not think for a second that I am absolving Ken Patullo earlier on in this show because the offensive line is bad and Saquon Barkley's not running well. This is still on Ken Patullo. The fact he cannot scheme against zone defenses at all through 5 weeks is unbelievable. You're telling me you have just no idea how to go ahead and run routes and protect and throw against a zone defense. It just doesn't make sense. They can beat man, but why would you play man against the Philadelphia Eagles after watching this game on Sunday and the previous 4? If I'm the Giants on Thursday night, I'm going to zone the heck out of the Birds offense and be like, hey, you guys going to figure it out finally? Now, moving on to the other side of the football, because we're so offensive focused, I thought Philadelphia's defense maybe had their best half of football in the entire season, and then they followed it up by their worst half of football the entire season. Quarters 1 through 2, they were stopping the run, honestly, really well, getting after Bo Nix and flying around like we've come to know and love from a Vic Fangio unit. But then, the second half, credit to Denver here, Cortland Sutton won a very hard-fought battle versus Quinyon Mitchell all game long, and Bo Nix made enough plays to win. But I do think going 5 plays punt, 3 plays punt, 3 plays punt, 3 plays punt, and 6 plays with a Hail Mary to end the game definitely played a factor in the defense being absolutely gassed. And if I do, well, so does A.J. Brown.
Obviously we can learn from what we did well. Kind of what I just said, the inconsistency showed up again, and we got to play 4 quarters, and we have to, stop putting a lot of pressure on our defense because they're playing really good, but we just got to pull our end. So at times we did, and then the second half we just stalled out. So there's a lot of things to work on and continue to get better.
I still have very little worry about the Eagles defense, even after giving up 18 points in the fourth quarter this past week, because overall they faced some really good offenses and honestly shut them down for vast majorities of the start of the season. Now, I do think they need a closer at pass rusher. No one has really emerged as this elite fourth quarter pass rusher to go get a strip sack, go ahead and save the football game. Does Howie make a move? I don't know. We talked about it enough here on the channel. I think they need a pass rusher, though, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. However, I do think Vic had a very good game, and they just got gassed and were out of breath the entire fourth quarter. Still, though, shout out to Azeez Shines for finally playing over 33 snaps, more than Josh Uche on Sunday, and making us all second guess exactly how he couldn't find the field at all the first 4 weeks. He looked good and definitely had some depth to the edge rusher position I talked about earlier that Philadelphia desperately needs. Likewise, I do think Kelee Ringo got exposed a little bit in his second official start, especially late in this one. In the 2-point conversion here, get some hands on the receiver, Keely Ringo, goodness gracious. But overall, let's be fair, Ringo only allowed 4 catches for 55 yards. He's not Quinyon Mitchell, so we must take the good with the bad. But Philadelphia did not lose the game on Sunday because of Ringo or really anybody else in the Birds defense. The truth of the matter is, us Philadelphia Eagle fans, we're not used to losing, especially home games at the Link in the regular season. It's been like 12 games since Philadelphia lost at the Link. The question I have, though, how do they adjust, right? Prove to me you know how to beat a zone. Prove to me you know how to scheme the run. Prove to me you can get stops on defense and not commit stupid penalties to go ahead and give your team an easy first down or the win. This is going to be very interesting the next couple of days because Thursday night, a quick turnaround versus the Giants is a game they should win. They should dominate. The Giants got obliterated by Spencer Rattler on the road against the winless Saints. However, if they struggle on offense really at all, especially for a quarter or more versus the Giants, win or lose, people are going to continue to go ahead and be upset, and some might start jumping ship. I'm not ready yet, but I do think we're going to learn a lot about the Philadelphia Eagles following their first big early loss of this season. How will they respond? How they react on a very, very short week? I'm pretty interested on how it's going to go.
Now we have adversity, really adversity, like our first real adversity. Like we lost a football game. We haven't lost a football game since Washington last year. We got a lot of guys banged up. We got to get healthy, and we got to come to work. That's the thing we have about this team, though. We got a lot of great leaders and a lot of great talent, but we have super competitive people too. And it's not going to sit well with anyone in this locker room, and we're going to get better from it.
Say a couple more, please. The run game's an 11-man deal, right?
I take the responsibility for all of it because I'm just trying to find solutions for it, right? It's just trying to grow and learn from it, and I look at this as an opportunity in itself. You play the game to win, and when you don't, you learn from it.
This loss sucks, last week I said we learn from winning or we learn from losing. So now we're on the other side of it, and so now we have another opportunity. We have another opportunity, short week, to turn it around and get this thing going. So.
Of course, naturally, I'll cover all of it here on the channel as we lead up to Thursday night. We'll stream the game as well. A bunch of you guys were at the game stream yesterday. It was fantastic. Almost 9,000 people watching concurrently. I appreciate you guys. And naturally, go ahead and give me your one take on the Birds down below in the comment section because U.S. Army vet, I want to give this bad boy to you, but I got to hear from you. So I'm going to load link in my description box. Send me an email, prove it's you. And if not, I'm going to redraw for a new winner on my next video. Plenty more giveaways happening after that one as well, so stay tuned. I'm Thomas Mott. This is what losing feels like. Hasn't happened in a while. I just hope they can fix the offense. We'll see. This has been the Thomas Mott Show.